Welcome to this webinar sponsored by the Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence and St. Leo University. We'll be recording this webinar, so if you'd like to view it later or recommend it to a colleague, you'll be able to find it on our webinar page of our CTLE website or on our YouTube channel. We'll drop the links for those in the chat at the end of today's session. I'm Candace Roberts, the Director for the Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence, and our topic for today is creating course images with Copilot. I'd like to introduce you to our speaker, Candace Nelson, who will introduce us to this concept and show us a few things that'll help build your skills and enable you to create your own images. Candace, take it away.
Hi, everybody. This webinar is very hands-on, so I encourage you to kind of navigate along to Copilot with me, and you can try out some of the things that I'm doing. At the end, I'll leave time for you guys to kind of prompt Copilot on your own, ask any questions you have, or even workshop prompts with us or share results. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we need to do is log into Okta with your credentials. So let me exit out of here. And here we are. And you're going to go over to OneDrive. Once you're in OneDrive, you'll need to navigate to the apps. So you'll click the waffle icon on the top left. It says App Launcher. And then More Apps. So for me, I have Copilot over here on the left side taskbar, but not everybody will have it there. If you don't have Copilot there, you'll find it under this link that says All Apps, and you should be able to find Copilot under that section. Once you find Copilot, your screen should look like this once it loads. All right, let's see. So this is Copilot. So when you're working with Copilot, especially in generating images, the key to a really good output is really good input. So you have to craft a really strong prompt. So if I wanted to create, say, an objective icon for my course, like the simple little target icon, if I ask it, create a icon of a target, it's going to try, and it will take a little minute to load because it generates about 4 different options. Sometimes fewer, but usually around 4. It's taken a minute. All right, so what I got was a variety of options here, and these may not be what I wanted. Some of them have more of a 3-dimensional look, some of them are more colorful, and maybe I'm envisioning something a little more simplified, a little easier to work with. So when you're trying to prompt AI, it's important that you have kind of a framework to follow. So I kind of made this sort of framework on my own. I call it RSS, or Request Subject Style. So the request is create an image, and the subject is a target. So create an image of a target. And then the style would be what you want it to appear like in as much detail as you can offer. So in a simple illustration with a white background and mostly black and blue. So we'll see. If the prompt is good, the images will come out kind of what I'm envisioning. If not, I'll have to rework it. But typically this format works really well. So if you start with your request, so you want to generate an image, you want to generate a photo, you want to generate a painting. Now these ones are pretty good. This one right here is not bad. This one came out pretty well to what I wanted, and I could hit download and save it to my computer and use that within my course anytime I wanted to use that target icon. Now, if I wanted to try something a little more complicated, let's say I'm going to ask it to create something in the style of a famous artist. So let's see, create a painting create a painting of a college student reading outside of a university in the style of Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. And then I'm going to add a little bit of extra context. So I'm going to ask it to emphasize the impasto and vary the brushstrokes. So I'm trying to get it to combine something modern with something more historical and see what it comes up with. So AI can get pretty creative, but it's not perfect. It will have, it definitely has its imperfections at times. The more people you try to create, the more strange it will become. That's when you'll start to see extra fingers or things like that that AI is quite known for. So the more complicated the request, sometimes the more interesting the output. But this one came out quite nice. And it did well. So if you've seen Starry Night, now it could lengthen the brushstrokes a little bit more and add more variety. So if I wanted to, I could go through and prompt it to do that. I could say, and if you want to correct Copilot, talk to it in a conversational tone. This is how you program it. So you would say something like, this is good, but the brush strokes need to be of different lengths. And then what it will do is go back and try to correct it. So think about it as having a conversation with someone else, a partner, assistant, something like that. And this time it did much better. The brush strokes are a little more varied. The color palette's nice. And then I picked the one that I would like, and then I can download it. So like download and save it. It'll save into my downloads. Or I can select copy and just copy paste it anywhere I want it to go. Some limitations, as I mentioned, sometimes proportions can get a little wonky. It's better at illustration. It's better at paintings than it is at realism. So if you ask it to create a photo, the lighting is going to be a little weird. It's going to be in that uncanny valley a little bit. It's also restricted to a square format, so it can't generate anything that is landscaped, and you'll have to kind of work with something in the square. It's also not particularly good at showing relationships between things. So if you ask it, let's say, to create an infographic explaining the relationship between ISO, aperture, and shutter speed in cameras. Use a simple illustrative style. So even though I did explain everything that I said I would, like the request, the subject, and the style, when you're trying to get it to show relationships between things, it's not capable of doing that to a high degree. It'll produce an interesting result, but most of the time the result doesn't quite make sense. So if we take a look at this, this is not what I was looking for. This is, I think it's attempt at aperture. So Copilot is best for creating very simple icons, or creating interesting creative images to add a little something to your course to get interest. So if you wanted to create an image of somebody reading to let people know, hey, there's going to be a course reading here, or images of people doing an activity you're going to ask them to do, it would be fine with that. But if you're asking it to create a graphic of some sort where you're showing the relationship between things, that's going to be something where it struggles. I have had it do well when comparing two things, depending on what those two things are. So it really does require experimentation, but I found that it's cut down on my image creation or curation by half at least, because I can ask it specifically for what I want in the style that I want. But if you want, this is very short and sweet little Copilot overview. If you want to take a little time to try it out yourself and let me know how it goes, just remember it's requests. So you want to create an image, the subject you want to make, and in the style and as much detail as you can give it and see what happens. We would be interested to know how it goes. And if you have any questions, now is definitely the time. Ask them away. I am here and happy to help in any way. Or if you have questions about prompt writing, I'm here.
So Candace, I just tried to use it to create, I'll give you my prompt.
Okay.
So first I had asked it to do your student with the Van Gogh Starry Night. So I think it held on to that a little bit. And so I asked it, create a library scene with fall leaves. And it shows the inside of a library and flames are coming out of the books. So it does have the Starry Night above the library room, which is interesting. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that we go somehow from fall leaves to burning books.
Okay, so sometimes what happens is if you've prompted it to do something, it does retain onto that, so it builds upon its previous knowledge. So you could completely reset your prompt and just make sure you really define that style. You can also follow up prompt it and say, no, I want an outside view of the library and make sure that the leaves are falling from trees. And then that should help refine that prompt a bit more, because it will hold on to whatever you've prompted it with last. So it's really important if you add new prompts that are supposed to be something different, really define that style and don't be afraid to tell it, no, that is not that is not what I'm looking for. Try this, try a different way.
So I tried it out, Candace. Can I share screen?
Yes, let me stop my share here. Oops. I'm just going to.
So I just told it to create a lion with a green and gold background.
Okay.
And this is what.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't it kind of cool? I mean, it took me 2 seconds. I asked it to do. Then I asked it to make the background a little bit more opaque because it's kind of bold, and that one didn't turn out so well. Let me see if I can find that one. It wasn't what I expected. So I got these. The lion turned green. Not so much.
If you wanted to simplify the background, you could put in the prompt that you like this, but to put it on a more plain background. I find like using words like plain or single color work really well if you're trying to get something that's just kind of like the subject and then the plain background.
Let's try it.
Amy, let me know if like correcting it worked and you got something you were looking for the library image.
Yeah, I'd love to see Amy's, what she came up with.
I enabled
okay,
sharing,
I can
so if she
share
wants
it.
to share.
Let's see what mine says after I made it, after I asked it to make it more plain. Oh, well, that's really plain.
Oh, it is, but those icons are so good. Like they're
Yeah, they are
very pretty.
Yeah, if I were looking for an icon, yeah, they would be very cool. But I really liked the first lion. It looked kind of majestic, this guy.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. But anyway, let's see what Amy came up with.
Okay. All right. So here, can you see it? Here's the image with the flames coming out of the books.
I think it was trying to do fall leaves in an impressionist style and it did not work out. I see
No,
back here
that's
on the very back left corner, there's a tree trunk. It was trying to put trees inside while maintaining Van Gogh's brushstrokes, which
right.
led to that kind of that was not the look you were going for.
So I did what you said, and I told it no, and I want an outside scene of the library, and it gave me these two.
Oh, those are beautiful. Oh my goodness. I want to be at that library.
It looks good, doesn't it?
It does. And you can ask it to change the style, you can ask it to change the color. Um, I did one earlier today where I asked it to do like I was trying to think from different perspectives, like an anatomical drawing of a heart in the style of Leonardo da Vinci, and it did really well with that. The more context you can give it, if you can give it a famous example, if you can give it color palette, style choice, the more defined you can be, the better the product will be. Um, Especially like I find like if you look up different art styles and start using those terms, it's actually really good at replicating them. I think I had it do origami at one point and it was pretty good. Some of them were a little wonky, but like there was a couple that were very cute. Did anybody else try it out and see if they could have any interesting findings?
I used the same prompt as the other woman and did a library with leaves falling, and I got a picture that I really liked. But then when I said the leaves were on the rug in the library, and I said no, the leaves need to be outside. I still want it to be an interior. Is there any way to click on that picture and refine that particular picture more or
I
image?
there are some models that allow you to do that, but Copilot does not yet. I don't know if I can, let me double check. I know ChatGPT will allow you to upload image files and say, can you make an image based on this for me? But Copilot right now does not have that ability. You could say, I like these examples, kind of, could you alter them in this way? But it probably won't keep the exact same one, but it will be close.
Okay, thank you.
And I used Copilot because we do have access to it for free, which is amazing. And it's a pretty good quality image generator. But if you have access to ChatGPT, and DALL-E 3, DALL-E, it's amazing. And it has, especially if you use the paid version, you can actually like paint on certain parts of the generated image and ask it to change it. So yesterday, my husband and I were kind of testing this out and tried it with GPT-4, and he asked it to make an 80s style lizard with a flamingo on a neon background, and it was hilarious. But he erased the lizard's eyes, he like painted over it and asked it to put in sunglasses. And it did, and it merged it quite well. So it really depends on the tools. So while Copilot is limited in some ways, that's not true of every single image generator. But Copilot, as far as for courses, like if you need a quick image, it's quite good at it. I've used it in some of my CTLs, and I generated some images of like, I asked it to create like a think, pair, share happening in a classroom. We had to narrow it down because it added like 50 kids in the room, and I'm like, no, just like let's just do 4. So the fewer you have, the better it will be. And it can even generate words pretty well if you're not asking it to do a lot of subject. Isis and I worked together and it did do the think, pair, share and spelled it appropriately when we asked it to narrow down the subjects. Thank you guys so much for coming. If you guys have any more questions, I'm here. If you have an idea of how you could possibly use this, or you want to know if it'll work, I'd be happy to workshop it with you and walk you through the prompts or refine prompts with you. Just reach out anytime.
Well, thank you everyone for coming. We'd like to ask you to complete a survey at the end of all of our sessions. We'd like to get feedback from you. So we'll drop a link to the survey in the chat. And once you click on that, the survey will stay open even after the meeting is closed. So it'll give you a few minutes to reply. And lastly, remember to check out this and our other videos on our YouTube channel and on our webinar page. And we are just really glad that you came today, and we hope it was useful to you. And thanks for joining us. Candace, thank you for a terrific presentation. That was fun.
Thank you.